A major ruling on LGBT discrimination this week. I'll have the good news, the bad news, and the even worse news. There's been a huge victory in a case that will be life-changing for LGBT people in Europe, and the governor of Delaware needs to hear from you about banning ex-gay abuse. I'll have the week's top LGBT news and actions you can take on Weekly Debrief. Big thanks to everyone who keeps Weekly Debrief going with a pledge of $1 or more a month on Patreon. If you're enjoying these videos, you can join them at patreon.com/mattbaum or just click the link in the description. You've probably heard that there was a big Supreme Court ruling about gay wedding cakes this week. The ruling has some good news and some bad news, but the worst news is that the ruling isn't definitive, which means that we're gonna have to keep talking about gay wedding cakes for the foreseeable future. So what's the good news? Well, the Supreme Court did provide some helpful context in their ruling, including a statement that generally businesses can't deny access to protected groups of people. This isn't a sweeping defense of LGBT non-discrimination, but it does provide some insight into how the court will rule on the issue when they finally do rule on it. And there's more. This week's ruling is already being interpreted by lower courts to mean that businesses can't use the guise of religious freedom to circumvent non-discrimination laws. Just a few days after the Supreme Court ruling, a lower court in Arizona upheld local protections for LGBTs, citing that Supreme Court case. So we don't yet have a decisive ruling yet, but we have a strong foundation for when that ruling finally comes. And it will be coming probably soon. Also this week, a European Union court ruled that all EU countries must recognize same-sex marriages for the purposes of immigration. This is a huge victory, especially since some EU countries don't currently recognize those marriages. This decision significantly expands equality in Europe and also allows much greater freedom of movement for same-sex couples. And in Delaware, the General Assembly just passed a ban on abusive conversion camps. It now goes to Governor John Carney for a signature. 13 states and DC have all passed similar laws so far. Ending these dangerous practices is crucial to protecting queer youth. So this week's action item, if you or anyone you know is in Delaware, contact the governor, spread the word, let him know that he needs to sign SB 65. And as always, let me know about stories that need covering on Twitter and in the YouTube comments. Huge thanks to everyone who keeps Weekly Debrief going with a pledge of $1 or more a month on Patreon. If you're enjoying these videos, you can join them. Just go to patreon.com/mattbaum or click the link in the description. And I'll debrief you next week.